Look at what's worked in your life and do more of it. Like, we have things that are really good in our lives and we don't do them enough. One of these little habits, the little thing that's a big thing, start noticing what works in your life, in your business, in your marketing, and do more of it. Sounds stupid simple, but we're not doing enough of that. Look at what's not working in your life and do less of it. As simple as that sounds, some of you are still going to lunch once a week with someone who makes you feel shitty about your dreams. Some of you are still trying to convince your husband why it would be cool to do what you want to do, even though it doesn't get you anywhere except to fight. If there is something you do that doesn't make you feel like the man or the woman you're supposed to be, if there's something you do that doesn't serve you, God, the universe, the success you want, if there's something you do that you're like, it just doesn't match with my values anymore, then here's my advice. Stop doing it. I know it sounds so simple. You have to identify the things that don't serve who you want to be now. Sometimes we did something in a certain phase of our lives and it fit us in our 20s, but it doesn't fit the man or woman you want to be today. So we have to recognize that and just stop freaking doing it. All of us have habits, but it doesn't mean all of our habits serve us. So what habits do you need to say no to and replace them with habits that change your life?
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to stay afloat. I quit my business partner, and the thing that kept me going was studying the stories of famous entrepreneurs and seeing how they struggled and seeing what they had to overcome and listening to their wisdom, motivation, gave me the courage, the strength, the belief to go one more day and see my business through. And in all honesty, I still need the inspiration, wisdom, motivation today for my business too. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is always be prepared.
I have a lot of people messaging me right now, kind of scared.
Yeah.
A little bit concerned. Like, are we in a recession? What does it mean if we are in one? And so what's your take on things? Where do you see the world right now? The economic environment, the business environment? I'll let you kind of describe it first.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the outside world, it's a fact that we have inflation, right? Mm-hmm. It's a fact if you follow numbers, we're in a recession. If you follow how a recession is determined, people are uncertain. But if you really think about this, because I've spent a lot of time, and I really want you to hear this, because going into a recession, some people might say, what's that mean? Gas prices are higher and interest rates will go up. No big deal, right? Other people are freaked out. Should I take my money out of crypto? Is it going to go to nothing? Should I take my money out of the stock market? Do I hold? Do I invest? Should I try to sell and get money so I can invest? Should I buy a new house? Should I, there's so much uncertainty, but really think about it. If you're feeling uncertain, if you're feeling a little scared right now, doesn't matter what level of wealth you have. Congratulations for being human. I mean, think about it. 2 years ago, we had uncertainty of COVID. What does that mean? We're home, we're shifting. If you own a business, you went virtual. If you work in a business, you went virtual. A lot of you realized when you stayed home, it's like, this isn't the job for me. I'm not wasting my life. I'm going to pursue my next level. So you get this uncertainty for 2 years and then separation like we've never had in this country of vaxxers, no vaxxers, masks, no masks, super left, super right. So true. You compound that with uncertainty, with the news polarizing us more than ever before. And then all of a sudden a recession comes. Yeah. Right? It's on the back of 2 years of uncertainty. So I don't want to be a naysayer, Ed, because I hope we wake up tomorrow and it's shifted and it's gone. So I'm not the, it's doomsday and I want to, but
you're the antithesis of that most of the time, but you're also a truth teller.
And yes. And the truth that I'd say when most people ask what to do, I think we should talk about there's tactical things you should do, right? The quote that's worn out, but I love it is Wayne Gretzky said, I'm a great hockey player because why? Skate to where the puck is going. You need to investigate and see where is the world going during a shift so you can get out in front of it. Okay. But the best advice I would say is it is way better to anticipate and prepare than it is to react.
So true.
And I think that's what we could talk about a little bit. It's like, what did Winston Churchill say? Those that don't understand the past, it's bound to repeat itself, right? It was probably, he said it more elegantly, but basically, if you don't look backwards, you don't know what's happening in the future. So what I'd say is understand that the average recession lasts 18 months. There's been like 20 of them since the beginning of America. They last 18 months. So don't make it worse than it is, but you don't have to make it better than it is, right? But prepare. anticipate things are going to get different. There are going to be layoffs if we follow. The housing market wasn't a bubble, and it did bust. And if you're a real estate agent, if you're in the mortgage business, you're in a title company, all those things are going to be affected. There is no question about it. It's coming.
Right.
Like, ask an agent right now, like, no, this is temporary. That's what happened in 07 and 99. I was in business.
That's so true.
Right? Because it's hard for your brain to say, could this be over?
Right.
And it is over for a little bit of time.
For a little bit.
Rule number 3 is model successful people.
There's nothing you really can do that's original. Nothing. Anything you think is original, I promise you, I've probably already done it. And before me, Tony already did it. And before him, someone else did it. And before him, someone else did it. We're all regurgitating. I mean, sometimes people come up and say, hey, it's the first time I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure Jesus did that quite some time ago. So my whole thing is, don't rip anybody's stuff off, but you can model their processes. Listen, my first infomercial, and I did an infomercial. That's where I started. People are like, why'd you go in the infomercial? It's kind of cheesy. Because there was no internet when I started, guys. I did this in 1997. There was no MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I had to do an infomercial or direct mail. The only two options. Or newspapers.
Ooh.
When I did my first infomercial, I literally copied Tony's on a VCR. I hit record. I recorded his whole infomercial on my VCR. I took that VCR and I watched it 100 times. How did he open? How did he go to a call to action? How long was the call to action? When did the call to action come? How many testimonials did he have through the infomercial? Was it an 800 number? Was it 800 number? Was it mail it in? I created a blueprint of how his infomercial worked, but then it was me and my words. But I used the same amount of testimonials, the same length of a call to action. I used a voiceover. I used graphics. I did all the pieces. I modeled what was working, but it was mine. There would never be a time when Tony would watch it and go, that bastard stole my stuff. He just said, wow, another guy doing an infomercial, and that was the flow. So you can model the success without being a copycat.
Rule number 4 is own your future.
This is a crazy time in the world. If you felt unsure, if you felt uncertain, if you are fearful of where the world's going, congratulations for being human. I mean, I'm 52. I've never seen anything like it. And I don't think most people have, at least in this generation, right? And what happens sometimes is when there's so much shift and so much change to the outside world. I'm literally sitting in my office right now having this conversation. I'm looking at the thermostat on the wall, and it makes me think, in life, when we're feeling it, when our confidence is high, when things are going right, we are the thermostat. We adjust our lives. We adjust how we feel. I'm going to try this new thing. I'm going to start a new business. I'm going to go online. I'm going to be a part of the digital economy. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do these things. We are the thermostat. And then when things shift, change, fear, we become the thermometer. And we, without realizing, we let the world kind of guide us, right? Our temperature is going up and down, and someone else is going to regulate it. And that's why Tony and I thought through this, like, how do we help people own their future? In January, we did a challenge on kind of owning your mindset, because the world shifted, and we put 837,000 people on a challenge in January about mindset. So then we decided it's time for people to help people own their economic future, own their own economy, because a lot of the world is kind of, it's like the old saying, when one door closes, another one opens. But most people stand at the closed door jiggling the knob for, like, I want to just go back to where it was. Let me just get settled. And what I want to encourage you, is a great question, is I want to encourage you, if you're listening or watching right now, is we can't wait for someone else to fix it. No one's coming with a magic wand, and the world may not go back to where it was ever. You know, Tony was in an interview. I referenced Tony because he's a dear friend. We talk every day, but there's certain things that stick in my head. He said it's like Humpty Dumpty broke. It's never going back together the same way. And if you think we're going back there, then that's why I want to do an interview like this and be here with you guys, is I want to shake you a little and go, no. And though the pandemic and the shifts have taken a lot away, they've also offered up amazing opportunities. So it's a long answer to a short question, Stefan, but what I believe is, during a shift like this, we must be investigative reporters. We must be willing to let go of the doorknob of the door that closed and go down other paths and say, oh, you know what? Maybe the world, we're socially distanced, but now we're virtually connected. Is there something that through online connection, is there something in the digital economy, the virtual economy, the knowledge industry, the information age? Just be the investigative reporter. Don't stare at Blockbuster, try to find the next Netflix. Don't stare at taxi cabs, try to find the next Uber. And I know they're worn out slogans, but you really get the point of it. So I think what helps is knowing that uncertainty and being fearful is normal. But the more you sit in one place, the more you wait for something else to change, the more that will grow. And the truth is, the more you could be left behind.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is stay focused.
Whatever it takes. If it's listening to Ed Milet's book or Tony Robbins or something from yourself or something else, if there's something you read, if you pray, if you talk to God, if you go to church, it's different from everybody, but whatever it takes to keep you in a space of, I'm going to live into my inner purpose. I'm going to tap into my full potential rather than playing small and playing scared. You figure out, this isn't a show about personal development. You can read Ed's book and lots of other things, but do something to keep you focusing on where you can go and not sit on your hands. I was with Tom Bilyeu 2 weeks ago, and he said, during times like this, people talk about fight or flight. He goes, that's not what happens here. It's the third F. They all freeze.
So true.
And I was like, wow, I got goosebumps. I was like, that's right. So unfreeze yourself, whatever it takes. Secondly,
very good. Yeah. Very good.
So the second thing, once you start realizing that we're not giving you that answer today, I'm saying, go find that answer. But the other thing, I love what Buffett said. He said, during a recession, during inflation, invest in yourself. Get better at what you decide to do than anybody else. Because if it's, he said, Reichmarks or seashells, you'll just get more of the pie. So if it's a deflated dollar, when you used to get 2, go get 6 because you're better at what you do.
So true.
I know it sounds so simple, but it's like, duh.
It doesn't.
Let me stop staring at the competition. Let me stop talking to my friends about how things go bad. You know, the conversation at your dinner tables are getting different. Be the only one that's saying, no, I'm going to find the gold in this downtime.
Rule number 6 is think big.
Stop putting restrictions and limits on where you could go. The one thing I was blessed with is I think big. I am not afraid to go for big. Because here's what I know. The same stress same stress that puts on you for a $5,000 project or campaign, here's a little secret. It's the same stress in a $5 million campaign. There's no difference. So if I'm gonna be stressed out, might as well go big or go home. So stretch your thinking. Stop putting limits on yourself. Like, I don't have a lot of followers and I'm not that good on camera and I don't really know what I'd sell. So I'd be lucky if I could, if I could do $2,000 a month. Like, stop that. Just stop that restrictive thinking. Don't be a dreamer and think it's all gonna come overnight. It takes time. So 1 is stretch your limits. Number 2, train yourself to want bigger problems. I know if I'm at a table with 10 people, I know the wealthiest person at the table, one thing I know about them, they solve bigger problems than the rest of the people at the table.
So good.
Problems don't go away. Hear me. People think once you're successful, I have more success than I ever imagined possible. I get to do things I never thought. We're beyond my dreams. Like, I don't say that. You don't see me. If you follow me on Instagram, I don't show my house. I don't show my private plane. I don't show my houses in 2 different, I don't show any of that because I don't want people to follow me because they think they're gonna get rich overnight. I want people to follow me because of who I am as a man, who I am as a father, who I am as a husband, who I am when I care and contribute and the value I give to the world, right? I just made that decision a long time ago that I want people to follow me because they know I care and they know I have capabilities to be successful, right? But you have to train your brain to say, if I want more, then you got a problem, you bring it to me. I think just the level of, the threshold of problems that you have that puts you in I can't even move, will dictate how big your future is. If I see somebody cut someone off and someone flips them off when they're driving, or if I see somebody, they order steak and they ordered medium and it came medium well and they freak out, I'm like, never in a million years will that person be successful. Their threshold for problems is too low. Like, I'm not being a jerk, but if I order well done meat and they bring me chicken, I eat it. Who cares? Who cares? If I order spaghetti and they bring me raviolis, I'm gonna have raviolis. Somebody cuts me off in traffic, I think to myself, maybe they're in more of a hurry than me. Have a good day. Like, I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I've just learned to say, I'm gonna solve problems, but I wanna solve $1 million problems.
Yes.
So, number one, stretch your thinking, solve bigger problems. Train your DNA to be like, you got a problem, you bring that to me, I got this. Because all problems do, can I tell you? You know what is on the other side of your problem that you solve? A better version of you. That's just it.
Yeah.
A better version of you is on the other side of the problems you solve.
Rule number 7 is overcome limiting beliefs.
If you could go, and really think about this, if you could go spend a day with your 20-year-old self, you had a week to prepare, and then you could go back and spend a day with your 20-year-old self, what would you say and how much would that be worth to you right now? Really think about that. Not like really visualize that. It would be, I already know, people say priceless or millions. That's the only answer we ever get, because you know how much you could help avoid the mistakes. How maybe you protect your heart and find true love, or start the business sooner, or realize you have more self-worth. Only you know what you would say to your 20-year-old self. But secondly, there's somebody, potentially millions of people out there right now, starting off on something you've already learned, an experience you've already went through, a mess that you've already accomplished. Right? And the value of that is priceless. I'm going to give you a quick example. We've been helping people for a couple of years now. We've been in it for 60 years, but helping people for about 3 years. We have over 40,000 students in 150 plus countries with 4,700 different unique niches and different things they teach. But I was on the other day with one of our high level students, and her name is Cyrene, and she was in business, and she got next level training from Tony and I and thought she was going to help women in business. But when she got the course, she's like, you know what I really want to help people with? She went through menopause, and she said it was a disaster. I could have no idea what that means as a man. But she said she gained weight. She had night sweats. And she said the worst part, her mind, she thought her husband was going to leave her. She thought she wasn't pretty anymore. She said she felt just crazy. And after feeling that, she said, enough, I can't. She read the books and went to specialists, and she obsessed on it for a few months and cured her night sweats, felt beautiful again, got her mind back, flourished her relationship. She goes, I realized I didn't know before I talked to you and Tony that there are millions of women going through menopause that don't have this knowledge. So she's created a course and a training to help women go through menopause naturally, following her 7-step framework. Who doesn't have a life experience? And the fact of the matter is, probably 20 years ago, people would say, I'm going through this, I need to go to a doctor. Now, in today's world, people say, I'm going through this. Let me go find someone who already did and found a way. And they find Cyrene. So if you think you don't have something, you're wrong. And that's why Tony and I do things like the Own Your Future Challenge, just to show people for free, like, you have this valuable asset. Let us help you unlock it and give it back to the world.
Rule number 8 is don't hate money.
When it comes to money and success, it's like you're at a therapist, money's on one chair, you're on the other, therapist is in the middle, and you go, I hate that money. If I get that money, I might change. I might be a horrible person. Mm-hmm. And then in the other part, you're like, but I need that money so I can have freedom and take care of my family, and I need control, and I don't want to work in this horrible job anymore. Could you imagine a therapist saying, well, we got to get this straight. Do you hate money in that chair, or do you love money? I'm really unsure. And I think that's the conflict. I think the conflict is I think money and alcohol just expose and compound who you are. You're a jerk sober, you're a real jerk drunk, right? You're violent sober, you're very violent, right? Same with money. And I think if you're listening to Ed Milet, you have to realize that money is a byproduct of service. And what money can do is, listen, when people say to me, money doesn't buy happiness, I say, you haven't given enough away. Right. So true. When I was on your stage, I was compelled. I was compelled by you. I watched your emotions behind camera when you were talking about the families in Texas. I was compelled. Do you know how great you're thanking me? Why? Like, you're thanking me for something that filled my heart. You know how great, you know what $50,000 was to me at 18? I thought if I could make that a year, I'd be the richest man alive. Yes. And to be able to sit on stage and say, hey, Ed, let me give you another 50 grand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I built 2 schools in Africa. I fed 7 million people, right? I donated $600,000 last year to Operation Underground Railroad. How blessed are we that we get to do those things, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Earlier I said, Tony, I like when he says get leverage. I said, get in the right mindset. If you feel that being successful, that you don't deserve it, or that money is bad, I'm going to tell you to dig into that. Find out where that is. Ask yourself. One of the simplest ways I always do is ask yourself why 7 times. Why do I think I don't deserve it? I'm not that smart. Well, why do I think not being smart has anything to do with being successful? And just keep asking why over and over again. And you'll get to a point where you'll start getting emotional and be like, everything I just shared is.
Rule number 9 is conquer fears.
We all have our own journey, but I would hold on to the belief that I'm not that smart because I struggled in school. I had dyslexia and, barely got out of 7th grade, and then high school, barely got out of high school and didn't go to college and didn't come from money. And there's nobody super smart, nobody super rich in my family, and none of my family ever went to college. So that stuff just lingers in there. I don't know where it lives, but that crap is in there and it can bubble up really easily. And here's what I just want to share. I was scared of all of it. I was scared at every level. I was fearful of failing. Listen, when my sister sat me down when I wanted to be an entrepreneur and wanted to go to the next level and said, hey, I love you and you're doing great, but that's for other people, right? That's not our family. And my dad thought he was protecting me and friends told me I was crazy. Of course that makes you go, yeah, maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too young. Maybe I'm not that smart. No, it takes money to make money. It takes a degree from MIT or from Stanford. We can tell ourselves so much crap. Yeah. And I get that, and it never goes away. So there's a positive message for your family here is like, it never goes away, but it's okay. It's not about it going away. It's about recognizing that voice may be there to protect you like a protective mother, but it's wrong. We don't run from saber-toothed tigers anymore. So when you go out to venture into a new thing or you want to launch on Instagram and you want to start doing cool videos and get promotion and get marketing or sell or actually ask for money or any of those things, you start getting nervous and your brain says, no, let's not do it. It's scary. Since we're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore, we're like afraid of putting ourselves out there, right? Here's what I want to share is, what if you could shift that? And you found a way to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Know that your life is flat unless you're pushing yourself. Because here's what I know. We all have, and I wrote a book a decade ago and I labeled it. This is how important it is to me. I labeled, we have an inner villain that's like, you're not good enough. No one's going to listen to you. Your husband doesn't support you. Your spouse doesn't support you. Your partner thinks this is crazy. Your mom thinks you're nuts. You should be happy with what you got. We all have that voice.
Yes.
But we all have an inner hero that says, no, I could freaking do anything I put my mind to. When they told me I couldn't, I could. When they told me I was crazy, I realized they don't make statues of critics. They make statues of crazy people like me. Anything I put my mind to, I can do. I can overcome that voice. You just have to feed the right one. Feed the inner hero, and it will put the villain in a box. Every once in a while, it pokes its head out, and you punch it back down. And
yeah.
how do you do that? Sometimes it's like, well, Dean, that sounds good. You figured it out. But it's simple. Find your own leverage. You want to know leverage from me? I heard somebody say this. I think it was Ed Milet. Said a version of this. But this is what I think about. The kinds of things I've been thinking about forever. What is scarier? Feeling like an imposter? Putting yourself out there where an old friend goes, oh my God, why are you doing that weird stuff on Instagram? This doesn't, like, or your spouse looking at you or your partner looking at you and going, you really want to put yourself out there like this or do this thing? That could be scary. Maybe you failed in the past. That could be scary. Maybe you don't understand technology so well. That could be scary. What's scarier though? That or being at the end of your life and your maker, whatever you believe is your maker, I believe in God. What if at the end of your life, God played you a video of the woman or man you could have been? I don't know, which one's scarier?
By far the
Having
second.
a friend go, I can't believe you're doing that on Instagram, or your maker saying, you kind of played small, and you're like, oh my God, please let me go back. I don't think we get a second shot. So are you gonna listen to that silly voice that's already cost you way too much enough? That voice, excuse my language, that crappy voice has already cost you too much. Just don't let it.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is do the little things.
What would you say are some valuable habits that can help someone that's watching this right now? Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 habits that can help them get on the path to becoming a millionaire.
Yeah, I would say it's the little things are the big things. In fact, my dear friend Randy Garn says the little things aren't the big things. The little things are everything. So sometimes we're looking for the invention, the magic wand, the big needle mover, and it's really the little things. How we do any little things is how we do the big things. So I would incorporate little shifts in your life. Number 1, in times like now when uncertainty is high, our focus can tend to go towards what we've lost, what we don't have, and what could go wrong. Be the observer of that focus and go, my God, I can't believe I'm focusing on that again. And shift your focus on what this pandemic gave you, what opportunities exist, and where you could go. Because listen, they always say this, there was a story I read once on this long stretch of road in a place where the winters were rough and there was ice, this long stretch of road, there was one tree in the middle of this field, and that tree was all scarred up from getting hit over and over. Field all around it, and the tree kept getting hit because they said people would get in a tailspin and they'd see that one tree and their focus would go on that tree and I don't want to hit it, I don't want to hit it, I don't want to hit it, and they'd run right into it. If we're focusing on what will go wrong, we'll run right into it. So literally be the observer of your focus, number 1. Number 2, try to set your mornings up to play offense, not defense. Set a morning routine that lets you see the things you're grateful for. I know we all talk about practicing gratitude, but sometimes we can lower the bar. Sometimes it's that you woke up. 150,000 people a day don't make it through the day. So you woke up, it's a nice day. Like, find a way to practice gratitude. Give yourself a pat on the back for something you accomplished the day before. Give yourself some encouragement of what you're going to accomplish that day. Maybe not look at your phone for the first half hour. Do everything in your morning. That's my secret weapon, is I try to set my morning up where I can attack the day. Because if you get in defense mode, all day you're just trying to put out fires. You can't move forward by solving yesterday's problems. You can't drive forward by looking in the rearview mirror. So how do we play offense to move forward? The third thing that I think is really important is today. Like right now, when you're watching this, decide what you must say no to, because we all have this tendency to say, yes, yes, yes. We're overwhelmed. We have our phone, we're appointments. 3/4 of the things you do are probably a pretty must. You should do. Half of the things you do are probably a must. You probably have 50% of the stuff that doesn't serve you, doesn't serve God, doesn't serve your bigger future, doesn't serve the man or woman you want to be. Learn to say no, and then fit in things like this challenge and other things that can expand your mind and take you where you need to be.
If you don't have a big enough want, a big enough why that you're fighting for, then all of it becomes monotonous. All of it becomes questionable. All of it becomes this thing that you just don't know where you're going. You look in the mirror and say, why do I want more? And I want to give you a little answer, or something to intrigue you today while I'm on my walk. Listen, thanks for coming with me on a walk. If you're listening to this, maybe it's not the perfect audio, but I hope it's a message that sinks into your soul. Because these are the things I wish someone would have given to me at an earlier age. Listen, I've been a study of personal development, a study of success, obsessed by it because I wanted to run away from a painful childhood, a broke childhood, watching my parents struggle. And in that journey, or along that journey, from reading books, from starting 13 different companies, through going through a divorce in my life, going through stressful times, and now being in the most fabulous time of my life, in my 50s, I realized the little things are the big things. In fact, the little things are everything. According to my dear friend Randy Garn, he told me that ages ago, and now I know it to be true. So again, I'm going to go back to that question. What do you stand for? So what's that mean? Let me just share my day yesterday. I want to tell you how crazy my day was yesterday. We have a live event, our company and my partner Tony Robbins' company and my multiple companies, we all work together to do a lot of things around the world. Yesterday, we had an event going on when I'm recording this in the Australian time zone. Rocking it for Aussies. Tony was crushing it, and I spoke yesterday, all these great things, okay? But while this was going on a Sunday, I want to give you my morning. I woke up early, did a workout, got up about 4:45, did a workout, answered all my emails, got text messages, set the day up, did my little morning routine, and then I made my kids breakfast. My kids got up. Now, I have the most amazing wife in the world, by the way, who would make breakfast and do all these things. But I'm going to share something. This is going to make sense. This is not just about my busy life. There's a reason behind all of it. Got up early, made my kids breakfast. I took my daughter. She met a new friend, and my daughter wanted to go to a church, a kind of a youth group that she was testing out. So she met a new friend. I dropped her off at about 8:45 in the morning. She was going to breakfast with a new friend. I think the girl's in 12th grade. My daughter's in 9th. They went to breakfast, and they were going off to this new church. So that was cool. I raced back, grabbed my son. We had to run to pick some stuff up for his baseball. He wanted to practice a little because it was going to be his first time pitching in a baseball game in many years. He used to pitch, and now he's practicing again. He's getting back in the game of pitching. So we practice pitching. As we practice pitching, I race back. When my daughter's done, I grab her. We come back. I drop my daughter off. I take my son, and we drive about 40 minutes to where his game was. I dropped my son off. I hadn't even had time to shower yet, so I dropped him off because he practiced first. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Drop him off because he had practice first. I race back home and take a shower. In the meantime, my daughter wanted to grab lunch with me. She goes, "You think we could squeeze in lunch, Dad?" Absolutely. We go grab a quick lunch. I drop her off at a friend's house. I race back up, and I watch my son play a doubleheader in 105-degree weather. Sweating, yeah, just sweating. Just picture what 105 is. And I was there for him pitching. I was there for him to get a hit. I was there for him when he didn't do so great, and he needed my support. I get done pitching, or my son gets done with that. In between, I'm running a live event in Australia, help running it. It's not on me. We have the most amazing team in the world, but I'm there answering questions, getting things done, making sure it's on phone calls. I'm waiting until my son's not up and walk kind of behind the trees and take a phone call and send some messages. I get done, grab my son. I call my wife, who's with my daughter and my little boy Luca, and I said, "Hey, we haven't been together. Let's meet at this great little Italian restaurant and have a nice Sunday dinner together." My wife calls me. I'm leaving the field with my son. My wife calls, and my son Luca, who's a year and a half old, is having a complete mental breakdown in the car, screaming like crazy. He's in the back seat, and they can't console him. And luckily, my little boy and I have this incredible bond. I said, "The heck with it. Park alongside the street. I'll come get you right now." I drove to where my wife was, parked my car, jumped in with her, consoled my son, and we drove to the Italian restaurant. We had an amazing meal together. We get done with our meal. I realized that day I'd spend so much time with kids, I haven't given my wife enough love, so I did something that really always makes her smile. I took the receipt when she wasn't looking, the extra receipt when you pay your bill, and I wrote her a little love note and told her how much I love her, which is true. I'm so proud of that woman and what she does. And I wrote her a little love note and stuck it in her back pocket as we were getting in the car. We get home last night, helped my son finish some homework that he didn't get done, went to bed, got up at 4:30 this morning. Now, I'm telling you this for a reason. Got up at 4:30 this morning, made their lunches for school today, and now I'm taking a walk talking to you. Now, today, it'll be rinse and repeat. Today, I'll bring them, I'll drive them both, I'll make them breakfast, I'll drive them both to school, I'll pick them both up from school. At 4 o'clock, I'll be catching for my daughter as she has softball practice. And tonight, my son wants to practice out in the backyard. Okay, so why all that? Because I also run 3 different companies and have hundreds of employees that rely on me. I try to be a good team leader and partner to those that work with me that are like family to me. I try my best to be a damn good husband, and I try to be someone that delivers quality content to you, those of you who would take the time to watch this video or listen to me. So why is all that important to you? You're like, great, you had a busy day. I have a busy day. I have kids, and we all do stuff. So big deal, Dean. I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm in a place where I can afford for someone to drive my kids around. I have personal assistants. We have someone that helps with our house. We have someone that could help with kids. So why the heck would I do all those things? Because I asked you earlier, what do you stand for? And here's what I know. At this age of my life, I have defined success down to the granular piece. In my life, I don't golf. I don't go to fundraisers. I don't go to parties. I don't go to happy hour. I barely go to dinner with any other couples. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I don't do much of anything. And it's going to sound like, oh, boring life. No, I know what happiness means to me. Not you. I know what it means to me. To me, I want to be the best husband a man could ever be. I've messed up in the past. I'm not messing up this time. My wife looks at me like I'm the greatest thing on this planet, and I am never going to stop that look. I am going to do what it takes to become a better human, a better man, so that woman continues to love me. I know at the end of my life, that's number one. Number two, I know at the end of my life, I'm going to ask myself, did I do everything in my power to be around my kids, to understand them, to know them, to be on their level, to have real, deep, and transparent communication? Now that my two older ones are going through teenage years and my daughter's in high school, I know I need to be emotionally connected to them.
I use silly analogies. I know. Inner villain, inner hero. What are we, like 7? And these are cartoon characters. But isn't it easy to remember? Like when you're thinking of making the phone call and you go, I don't know if I should. You can go, oh, wait a minute. The inner villain's in charge right now. I'm not letting that happen. Let me evoke and let me bring the inner hero to light. And I've been saying these silly analogies, probably that when I've been studying this forever, but for over a decade, I've been using that. And I'll still say to myself, like, how can I let the villain be in charge today? Because the villain, I want to tell you this, the villain will always fight to be in charge. You got to know that. And especially if this is a shift for you. Maybe you didn't even realize that you let this inner villain be in control of you. The phone conversations you have, the focus that you have, the belief you have, playing scared, waiting for someone else to fix it. You didn't even know that this villain was in charge. So now, all of a sudden you go, you're not in charge anymore. The villain's like, oh, wait a minute. I've been nesting in here for a while. I'm coming back strong. Will the villain fight harder? Absolutely. Will the villain look for more proof? Way more. And that's why in this section, I want to go really deep on the 2 factors necessary to become that achiever that you want, to create the success you want, to let the hero be in charge. Those 2 things are your state of mind and your confidence level. Think about that, right? We know your state of mind and your confidence. Have you ever done anything absolutely outstanding with a crappy state of mind and low confidence? You're like, no, I don't want to do that now. I'll talk to him later. No, the relationship's fine. You know, I should just be happy with this job. Who the hell am I to think I could start my own business or scale my own thing? No, the heck with that, right? That's the way we talk when our state of mind is down and our confidence is down. So what we have to do is find skills. We have to remember, we have to have a framework that when our wrong state of mind comes in, when our lack of confidence comes down, remember I told you earlier, and I believe this with all of me, confidence isn't on a scale of 0 to 100. If your confidence is at 95%, in my opinion, you play small. You're not playing into your full potential. You're playing into your fears, and you just hesitate, right? Think of the old saying, he who hesitates or she who hesitates loses, right? Couldn't be more dead on accurate. When you hesitate, you miss those opportunities. You already have. You know you've already missed opportunities. You've already played too small. Come on. You know you have, right? It doesn't matter where you are. I know so many of you are massively successful. So you're all successful in your own right. So please know when I say that. But you know you've played small. And what if you could put a face and a name, or not really a face, but a name to that thing, that person that's held you back? It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're a procrastinator. It's not that it's the wrong time in history. It's not just because your husband or your wife doesn't support you. It's because it sinks, because we're in control. Nobody, what have we talked about? We're either the thermostat or the thermometer, right? And if the greatest gift I would love for each of you to have is to leave being more of the thermostat. Like, no, today I'm adjusting the temperature. There ain't nobody telling me what degree to put this on. There's nobody telling me what to do. I love the people around me, love my family, husband, wife, mom, dad, love them all, but they're not adjusting me. Like, you know what? I just thought of this, and I'm gonna do it myself, is like, you get a picture of a thermostat, and it's like, you picture no one else can touch it except you. Like, do not touch. It's for Tracy or Jean or Kristen or Margarita or Tara, or any of you watching right now. That's who's in control. No one else gets to adjust that. And when we do that, we get to build that state of mind and confidence. Listen, when you're confident, you say no to the thing that you should have said no to a long time ago. And as I say that, you're thinking about something. If you have confidence, you say yes to the thing you should have said yes to a long time ago. You choose you. You choose your next level. You choose who you're supposed to be when you have confidence. So that's why this is so important. And think about the villain in charge and how the confidence process gets destroyed. So I was trying to think of this natural evolution, like the slide that you could see yourself going down the wrong path. Because I could say, this robs your confidence, right? We talked about negative news and all the things that feeds the villain. It also kills the confidence. But I was also thinking there's a slippery slope, right? So think about this. If you're excited about what could be, right? You're starting the new business. You're going to build a team. You're going to go into the knowledge industry. You're going to share what you know. You're going to open up 3 more pizza restaurants. I don't know what it is, but you're doing something. And you feel amazing, like excited for what could be. You're looking at that compelling future. You want to just make it bigger. And then all of a sudden, your subconscious, when your villain's in charge, starts to want to protect you. Oh, damn, Kimberly's dreaming again. Okay, let's get some proof. Let's keep her safe, okay? Inner villain type stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, your brain shifts. And you can let me know if you've ever done this. You can write it down if you have. Your brain shifts and starts focusing on what could go wrong. But if I do that, my friends and family are going to think I'm stupid that I tried. What if I give up my job and then the money doesn't come in? Then I can't pay my bills, and then I can't pay my mortgage, and then I won't be able to take care of my kids. And then, like somebody said snowball. You snowball, Joe said, you snowball down this hill. You start focusing on what could go wrong. And then all of a sudden, you don't, if you're like driving a car, you're not looking forward anymore. Then your subconscious goes into overdrive and you start looking in your rear view mirror backwards on things you tried before. You know, I tried that own business thing 10 years ago. I tried network marketing. I tried to do an online business, right? Remember the last time we tried? It's like you're having a conversation with that subconscious, like, oh yeah, we tried and we failed. Or remember, you were lazy last time. You procrastinated last time. People didn't believe in you last time. You failed last time. And now all of a sudden you're stacking it up. And then what do? You start looking around for other people who failed. Who's ever done this? I have to tell you. I drive. I think I shared this earlier, but I had a Mercedes, and then I went to a Tesla, which I loved that Tesla. But something about I'm just getting simpler. Like I can't wear anything but a gray T-shirt. I don't know. It's almost impossible for me to put anything else on. I wear a watch only because my wife gave it to me as a wedding gift, right? I'm just getting simpler, and I sold those. And right now, I drive a white Ford pickup truck. It's got cool wheels on it. It's a fancy truck, but I love it. Like, absolutely love it. It's a favorite thing. Now, when I got this, it's because Jeremy, who's been working with me for a decade, and a dear friend's got a great truck. My brother-in-laws both have the same truck, and it just looks so cool, but I didn't see anybody else's except their 3, right? So I get my brother-in-law to help me find the truck. I help him get me really cool wheels on it. I'm like, get me unique wheels. Get me unique tires. I want white, but I want like wine color interior. Because I sold everything. So all I drive is this truck. I'm like, I got a cool white Ford pickup that nobody's got, right? And what happened the first time I went down the street? Everybody has a white Ford pickup truck. Everybody has a white Ford pickup truck with the same tires and wheels as I do. Like literally, I'll come to my office and there's 2 people that work for me. I didn't even notice that they had exactly the same trucks. They probably think I copied them, right? Because our subconscious, until we look for it, we don't recognize it's there. So what happens in this slippery slope, right? You're excited, then your subconscious wants to protect you. You focus on what could go wrong. You look backwards on the things that want, and all of a sudden you start looking through the lens of other people who failed. Oh, she tried that business. Dana tried that, didn't work out. That's right. Like you're noticing the white Ford pickup trucks. You're noticing what could go wrong. So you're gathering proof. And then what happens? Self-doubt starts to come in. Yeah, this probably won't work. And all of a sudden, your confidence goes from 98% when you felt amazing about moving forward, drops down to about 90, and guess what happens? You hesitate. You stop. You back up. And you miss out. And you stay status quo. Doesn't mean your life falls miserably and you fall off a cliff and everything's gone. You just go back to who you were, and you stay there. That is a path. That is not a path for someone else that I've never experienced. I've been on that path a million times. How do you think I could recognize that path? Why do you think I wanted to take the time to go down that path with you? It's the end result problem. You find the root cause. I want you to look through the lens of the things we do or the things we could be doing when someone else is watching. So think about it this way. I'm in the happiest relationship of my life. I'm married to my best friend. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I fall more in love with her every day. But that wasn't always the case, and I'm not gonna go deep in it because I shared with some of you, I messed up on past relationships. I went through a divorce, and I could say that now because I'm in this great place, but it wasn't fun, especially wasn't fun for my children, right? It scared me to death. I had anxiety, like the worst anxiety I'd ever had in my entire life, like crippling anxiety when I was worried about my kids and would they be able to adapt and would they be fragmented and would they have to be one person for their mom and one person for their dad and I worried about everything possible. But do you know what the one thing that allowed me to finally make the decision? And my ex wanted the relationship over too. It wasn't a one decision. I had lived in the guest room for a long time and we found out a way to be co-parents and everybody's got their story, right? But I have to tell you, this question, the question I want to ask you guys and what I'm going to talk about today is, you know the one thing that really made the difference? It had been years, I mean, a whole handful of years, since at least 5 years, since we gave each other a kiss, held hands, were romantic, slept in the same room, and all those types of things. Listen, I never talked about relationships back then. I talked about business, marketing, impact, sales, personal development. I didn't talk about relationships because mine wasn't so great. We had a good friendship. We never fought. But you know what got me? Is a dear friend of mine said, I gotta ask you something, Dean. I feel like you and the mom of my children, you guys are doing something. You think you're keeping this all together for the children, right? When they grow up, how would you feel if they had the same exact relationship you guys are in? And that freaking floored me. It floored me. She said, you think you'd want your daughter not to be in a relationship where you're friends and there's no hand holding, there's no love, there's no, we go to a restaurant and I sit with one and you sit with the other and all this kind of stuff. And when he said that, I literally went and talked to my ex and shared that with her, and she said, we have to end this. And we figured out a way to do it amicably, and we put the kids first, and she's a dear friend, and thank God, it worked out in a really amazing way for everybody. She's the happiest she's ever been in her life, the happiest, right? And so am I. But I have to tell you, looking through that lens of no more bullshit, do I really want my kids to emulate and be in the same situation? Now my kids get to see their dad in love every day, hold hands every day, kiss every day, walk in the room, and my wife is the most important human being on this planet to me, right? They get to see this connection, and I watch my kids light up when they see their dad holding hands, kissing. They're like always smiling, always laughing, and they see what's possible by example. So I'm sharing that with you because I want to frame this day as, what about in your career? Are you in a job or in something that's not kind of filling your soul or allowing you to make the economic impact on your family that you'd like? But it's good enough. It's okay. I mean, you'll start that business sooner or later. You'll launch KBB when time allows, or you'll get there. But for now, it's okay. And I'm not saying go out and quit, but what I'm saying is, looking through that same lens, would you want your children to be in that same situation? Right? Like the $1 million racehorse. Why is it okay that you want to give everything to your child? I know I do. I want my children to be richer, smarter, better looking, happier, joyful. I want them to be 1,000 times better than me. I want them to go, oh, Dean was 1.0. His kids are 4.0. His grandchildren are 6.0. Oh my God, by the time I get to my great-grandchildren, I want them to make fun of what a pathetic weakling loser I was. Like, that's what I hope, right? If we want that for them so much, and if you're not a parent, it's okay. You can still feel those same emotions. You can understand what we're talking about here. If we want that for them, then why the hell don't we deserve it for us? Right? Like, how do we pierce this heart? How do we pierce this self-doubt? How do we pierce the thinking that we have that got us here? Our best thinking got us right here. It takes another level of thinking, another level of passion, another level of feeling uncomfortable and being disturbed with where you are to move. It's the spaceship. It takes all the energy to get it like 100 feet off the ground. Once it's out of the atmosphere, it hits a little button and goes fast. But it takes all that energy to get off the ground. So my goal in some of my trainings each month is to give you that burst of energy to get done today and go, screw it, I'm freaking doing this. Like nothing is gonna stop me. And I know so many of you are massively successful. This isn't about, oh, you're pathetic and this, it's about where you are, you know there's another level. That's all it is. And it doesn't mean that it's never enough. Listen, God didn't put us on this earth to settle. I think at the end of our life, if we have the opportunity to talk to our maker, he's not gonna say, I'm so glad you found your groove at 24 years old and kind of settled for another 70 years. Like, that's not what he wants. That's not what we're designed for. I always say Dale Carnegie's quote, my favorite one by him. He said, the biggest plight of the human race is knowing you have more potential and you're not using it. Like, you say that, you're like, yeah, yes, right? So how do we trick ourselves into knowing that we deserve this? We deserve to take uncomfortable action, to fail forward and to figure it out. Because if you think about that, how are we with, I know this is far away from business and stuff, but how are we with kind of our inner peace? Like making amends with ourselves. We help our kids solve problems. We help our kids not have regrets. We help our kids not have enemies or let go of pain. Like maybe I'm wrong, but like wherever we are, we want what's best for them. We know, we've studied it. Well, simultaneously, internally, you might be fighting with yourself and still have that person that you need to forgive, or forgive yourself for the mistakes in the past, or forgive yourself for procrastinating, or forgive yourself that you were scared up to this point, or forgive yourself that you screwed up the relationship. It was you. We want our kids to forgive themselves. We want them to forgive others. We want them to work on being grateful and having gratitude. And simultaneously, we wake up sometimes and our guts are spinning while we're helping someone else. Is it true? So if that's the case, why are we waiting to fix this in the next generation? You got a lot of years left on this earth. Let's fix it with us. Remember, like, just think, this is what I try to do all the time, is if I stay this way, my kids are gonna be that way. I literally punish myself that way. Because if I stay this way, they're gonna be this way. There's nothing I can do to change it, right? Another thing I wrote down is like, who are we when no one's watching? Like, we think we can put this facade on in front of our children, right? It could be children, it could be spouse, it could be partner, it could be friends. But we get to put this face on in front of other people, right? But then who are we when no one's around? Because I still believe our kids become who we are when no one's around. I think kids are the biggest lie detector, bullshit detector, excuse my language. Like, they just feel who you are and they become it. It's the power of you can't. I really want you to hear this. Because this is stuff I've already taught you, or you've probably already heard, but I want to give you some catchphrases. I want to give you some catchphrases that you go, oh, I get that, right? Anybody here listen to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights? Raise your hand if you did. Such a good book. Oh my God. And I don't know if you listened to it, but he's like, he's an actor and he's a storyteller and he's one crazy dude and way crazier than you thought, and really a good dude, like, because he's evolved and he grew, good family man, all that stuff. But the whole point, the name of the book is Green Lights. And his whole point, the green light, is in life when things go sideways and this didn't happen, someone let you down, right? The Tony Robbins, life happens for us, not to us. A lot of times when it was something that went totally sideways, or he gets stuck with a foster family that is absolutely insane in Australia and he can't leave for a year and he's going crazy. All these things that he thought were like the end of his life, a red light, when he looked back, they were actually a green light. Like, wow. That gave me the gift to understand this. It gave me the ability to act. It gave me the ability to understand that trouble with my dad made me a better human here. That trouble with my mom made me a better husband, right? And all those things. And he anchored that when something's going sideways, in most cases, it's a green light. And throughout the book, I'm not going to try to pretend to talk like Matthew McConaughey, but through the book, he gets to a point and all of a sudden he goes, green light. And now in my head, the reason I'm sharing this, because I want to talk about the power of you can't, is I love little things like that, because you're going through a tough time, you're like, damn, why is this happening? And all of a sudden your brain goes, green light, you're like, oh, all right. Just like that green light phrase, I want you to think of you can't, as a new trigger of like, oh, yes, I can. You see, I've embodied that when you think, hey, I'm gonna launch my knowledge industry, my self-education, I'm gonna launch my course, my coaching program, my high-ticket offer, I'm gonna launch my next level online business during a recession. And people in your family are gonna go, ooh, you can't do that. Friends are gonna say, oh, you can't do that now. Some of you are gonna say, you can't do it during this presidency, or you can't do it over the last presidency, or you can't do it over the next one. And then what happens is your inner self-doubt, if you guys ever read Millionaire Success Habits, I call it the inner villain, will say, you can't do this. You've tried before. You're too old. You're too young. You don't understand technology. You're an introvert. All these things happen and that voice goes, you can't, you can't. And here's what's so sad. The majority of the world go, yeah, maybe I can't. But what I've trained myself to do, it's why I wrote it in that book and why I'm gonna give you this little thing today, is when that voice comes in your ear or someone says it to you or it comes from inside, you can't means I must. Right? When I look back, God, I was so lucky because I didn't have a lot of mentors when I was younger. But I remember family and friends telling me I can't. And I remember thinking in my head, they're right. I don't have money, not that smart. I've never done this before. But who the heck, no way, I must now, right? My 12th grade yearbook, my saying was like, no one knows me now, but you'll hear me someday. And it was that same philosophy. I don't know where I got it from. Maybe it was watching my mom struggle and I wanted to take care of her. But I just remember everybody saying, you're not that smart. If you're not going to college, if you're not doing this, if you don't have money, it takes money to make money. My guidance counselor literally, and maybe you guys can appreciate someone who said this in your life at one point. My guidance counselor literally told me, not exaggerating, I'm not making this up, that I should go, if I wasn't going to college, that I should go to the only factory in our town and start with a minimum wage job packing plastic bags in boxes. They were a plastic bag company. And she said, you might be able to work your way up through that. Thanks, Miss Canosa. I'm glad you saw my potential. We've all been there. It's like, really? It was like, college, oh, the dumb guy. Ooh, go pack minimum wage. Maybe you could be a line manager someday. I mean, literally, come on. But the reason I'm saying this is because somewhere, someone told you, can we just say it like it is? Sometime in your life, maybe multiple times, someone told you you can't, or that's not for you, or it's not the right time, or that's for other people, and you didn't do it. I could get emotional. I don't know what, maybe because I'm not feeling good today. I could literally cry. I'm not kidding, because how many times have you missed out on the man or the woman you're supposed to be because someone unqualified told you you should? And the only reason I think I get emotional is because I was a millimeter away from not being this guy. I was a millimeter away from believing what everybody told me. You don't have great grades. You don't have money. You're not going to college. You should just be happy with the life that someone else deals with you or dealt you. You got to hear this. Most everybody listening right now, you've already surpassed the goals or dreams that you had for yourself when you were a kid. Even if you're not as far along as you think you would have been, I guarantee if you went back to your 17-year-old self and shared where you are, the things you've accomplished, the things you've done, the places you traveled, the success you have, you're like, oh my God, we did all that. So when I say stretch, it doesn't mean that you haven't already done it, or you've done it a million times. But here's the thing, when you stretch, when you get to a point where you think you've arrived, or your brain thinks we've got here, I think that's the part where people get lost, because it's like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What to do next? And I look at it, I have simple analogies, Ed. You grew up in the East Coast, so did I. And a lot of people don't know about lighthouses, light towers out in the middle of the water, especially off of Massachusetts, right? I picture, what was a lighthouse for, right? That was either to guide the ships to stay away from a certain area, or to bring the ships in when it was foggy and the ships were out catching fish, and you'd see a light tower, and the man that's in the light tower, and it's there for a purpose. It was a guide. Well, I have a light tower in my head, and what I say is, for me, that is my compelling future. Like my light tower, what am I driving for? Why do I still get up? Why do I still wake up at 5:30? I don't have to work anymore. I feel blessed to say that from where I came from means a lot. It's not being braggadocious. It's like I could quit, but what would be left? We grow, we find happiness and joy under that stretching, right? If we're going to use that as our model. But think about this. If you've already reached your lighthouse, if it was out in front of you and you got the relationship, you found the money, you got the job, you built the career, you raised amazing children, you're standing right next to your lighthouse. You're there and you don't know what to do. What I always think about on a regular basis, I know I'm using a simple analogy, is you got to take the lighthouse and you got to carry and put it 100 yards in front of you at all times in life. Because you need to be going towards that. You got to be working to get there. Now, here's the thing. What you have to realize is your goals, and I know I'm telling you stuff a lot of times you already know. I want to be a reminder service today. But the goals you had in your 20s, what success meant for you was completely different in your 30s. And what goals and what desires you had in your 30s are different than 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. So we have to recalculate what success means to us. We have to throw away what doesn't serve us anymore, recalculate what success is, attach it to that lighthouse and put it out 100 yards and fight for it like you fought for your first 100 grand. Fight for it like you fought for your first relationship. And I've just found a way personally, and I know you have in your own way, Ed, is I fight to get to that lighthouse like I'm broke, like I'm in a bad relationship, like my kids are all hosed up. Like I don't look at, I'm a good dad. I look at it like if I don't become a better dad tomorrow, are my kids gonna live fulfilled lives? I look at it as I have the most amazing relationship. I know you, Ed, you and I have had those conversations. I don't have an Instagram marriage. I'm in love with my wife. I fall in love with her more every day. I'd rather get shot in the head than be unfaithful to my wife. She's my everything. But if I just keep her as the lighthouse right next to me, I will take it for granted. I won't keep that spark. When I walk in a room, my wife looks at me like I'm the hottest guy on the planet, that she's not seen a man in 10 years. Still to this day, I get chills as I'm telling you. I walk in a room, my wife makes me feel so amazing, guys. If you've never felt that, work hard for it. It's like I'm candy to her. I don't even know why. Sometimes like, babe, you're so beautiful. Why? But I love it so much that I don't take it for granted. I stick it out. That relationship, I put it 100 yards out, and every day I'm fighting to be a better man. How do I listen more? How do I live into her heart? How do I support her as a mom or support in the business that she has? But I do that with business too. If I've accomplished this, and I want to tell you, in my 20s, I ran away from we have similar backgrounds. I didn't have money. My mom worked 3 jobs to make I lived in a bathroom for a while with my dad. I was running away from pain. I was disturbed with inaction. I was disturbed the way my parents lived, and I ran away from that. I'm not running away from pain anymore. Financially, I'm fine, so why do I still get up and fight? Because now I've taken that lighthouse, and for me personally, is I want to serve people at the highest level. I want to contribute to this earth. I want to help people that just need a hand up, not a handout. I want to partner with great people and be friends, Ed and Tony Robbins and great people like that to really impact the world. I'll probably give most of my money to charity. So I'm not fighting for another dollar, but I've moved the lighthouse in my head. I'm like, how do I help to impact 100 million lives? And I fight for it like it's not gonna happen. So that might be a crazy analogy, but I moved the lighthouse to be a better dad. I moved the lighthouse to be a better husband. And I wake up every day like, damn, I got a lot of ground to make up. That lighthouse is freaking 2 miles out. If we had to negotiate and we were negotiating a deal, I would make sure we both win. But we'd get that deal done if it makes sense for both of us. We'd get the deal done. Another really good thing in negotiating sometimes, if it doesn't make sense, it's best to just walk away and don't force it. But I gotta tell you a little story. I love going to a meeting, especially when everybody wears a suit. Now, I am not knocking you if you wear a suit. I just don't even have one, right? I love going to a meeting with really important people, and I love being the only one to walk in with a gray t-shirt on and jeans. Don't care if it's $1 million deal, a dollar deal, or a $20 million deal. I love going with a t-shirt. And I'm gonna give you a little secret on how I win negotiations. You guys ready for this one? I really want you to hear this because it works with my kids. It just worked with my son Brody this week. It worked with my daughter. It works so well that sometimes don't use it on your spouse, because winning doesn't necessarily mean you actually win. You might win the battle, but you'll lose the war. So guys especially, doesn't mean stop winning. But let me just tell you, I love going into a meeting where there's 5 or 6 people and everybody's And what happens most of the time, especially with dudes, guys love sharing about themselves, what they want, right? Let me tell you why this deal can work. I've been doing this type of deal for 52 years or 32 years or 18 years. And when we put this together, when we merge these two companies, and then the next person goes, yes, that's why I want to tell you. The reverse merger acquisition, and people want to brag, they want to pound their chest, they want to impress the people at the table. Who's dressed nicer, who could talk nicer, who could articulate better, who's got the best PowerPoint, who's got the best result. And everybody's like, right? And I've noticed this with guys. And what I've realized and how I win is I will go to a meeting like that and say nothing. Nothing. To the point where I'm guessing halfway through, people are saying, they told us this Dean guy was smart. He came in a $5 t-shirt and he hasn't said a word, right? But what am I doing? I'm gonna share something with you. What am I doing? I'm writing down what the goals, fears, desires, outcomes of each person are. I could see one guy, he wants to pound his chest and he wants to be the forward man. He wants to be able to say he closed this deal. All right, Bob, he likes certainty. So I'll give Bob a little certainty. Okay, Leslie, she's behind the scenes. She's actually the brains behind the organization. She's not the loudest one in the room, but she's the smartest one in the room. And she sees this in a logical way. And I'll just take notes and I'll listen. And usually I'm the last one to speak. And this will set up what I want to teach today. And I'll usually say, I'll think to myself, after I heard everyone, if this deal makes sense, I'm closing it. If it doesn't, I'd rather say, I don't think this is going to work for us, guys. I heard what you said, I get it, but that's not where we are. Usually, and I will sometimes, and I'm going to give you a little secret here, if you're ever negotiating, sometimes if they're not talking in a way where I get enough information, I will simply say, hey guys, if we made this deal, I want you to hear this right now. If we made this deal and it was a year from now and it was the best deal you ever made, what would that look like? You could do that with your kids. Okay, if I say yes, you can go to that college, you can go to that party, you can be friends, you can finally have a boyfriend. If it was a year from now and everything went great, what would that look like for you? Hey, our marriage, our intimacy's falling. I don't want that to be. If it was a year from now and our intimacy was the best it ever has been in our lives, hun, what would that look like to you? If our partnership in this business was the best partnership in the history of the world, we trusted each other, we had each other's backs, we flourished, we thrived. If it was a year from now and this was the best partnership of your life, what would that look like? I don't think we're connected as a couple anymore. You have your life, I have mine. I want to be connected. If it was a year from now and we were the most connected couple sharing and going after this world together, what would that look like in your eyes? You see how that question can work in so many different areas? Now, are you telling them who you are? I'm a great communicator. I love you so much. I feel like I've been doing so much for you. Why aren't you doing enough for me? I'm such a good parent. I've done so much for you. You don't even know the things I do behind the scenes. How dare you not talk to me? How dare you turn 13 and stay up in your room? How dare you think you can have a boyfriend? Like, that's all the stuff that repels people, where simultaneously when you say, hey, if this was the best father-son relationship in the world, a year from now, what would that look like, bro? What would it look like if we closed this deal? What would it look like if you come on as a client of mine? My favorite thing is when people want to do business with me, I'll say, before we want to do business, I consult for some bigger companies. And a lot of times I get ownership of the company. And right now, more than ever, I have so many companies that want to give me a percentage of their company if I will be on their board or consult. There's just not enough time in the day. But some of them are ridiculously lucrative. So I will say to them, hey, before we even think about this, do me a favor, send me a one-pager. If I come on as a consultant and it was a year from now and it went out, it was the best consulting deal that you've ever done in your life, what does that look like for you? And here's what I know. Sometimes they'll come back with a laundry list like 5 miles long. I'm like, hell no. I am not, like, you want me to run your whole company. I want 50% if you want that. Where I just had someone come back, they gave me 5% of their company, and they said, all I want is a 1-hour phone call a month to make sure we're going in the right direction. Boom, I'm done. That's the best year of your life. I'll take the 5%. I even invested with their company a little bit. So that magical question can set up the best conversation and communication in your life. And I'm going to go back to the story in a second here, but I want you to hear this first one. I know you've heard this. God gave you 2 of these and 1 of these. Use more of these. The biggest secret to negotiating and communication, let's not even say negotiating, let's just say communication, is listening. The biggest pandemic in our modern society is nobody's listening. They're just freaking shouting. They're not hearing what other people have to say. They're not hearing other people's worries. They're not hearing other people's fears. They're not hearing about other people's past. They're just shouting. So you want to learn to communicate, hear, and hear with not just your brain, hear with your heart. Let what people are saying sink in. So back to this boardroom analogy, but I've won so many of these, won, negotiated, communicated well. I will set that question in the beginning if they're not already saying it. And when I listen, if it's all realistic expectations, each person is telling you what they need. Bob needs significance. Leslie needs certainty. This guy, don't even know why he's here, but I'll make him feel good, right? Like, you just need to know what everybody wants, and at the end, I take in all that information. By then, they probably think I'm the dumbest guy in the room who's dressed the worst in the room, and then I close the deal and leave as the smartest guy. Because all I do is repeat what they say. Bob, listen, I've been hearing you. I want to make this deal happen too, and I know you want certainty, but... Does that sound good? Would that be a match? Oh, great. Leslie, I think you're the brains behind this operation. I say that jokingly, but it's kind of true. And I know you're looking at it through the lens of this is a long-term play. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't a long-term play. I'm here. If you look at my relationships, when I get involved with people, it's a 5 to 10 year relationship. So I hope that solves that. And then I go through the room and say, hey, so here's what I propose. I heard all of you guys. This is what I'm thinking. And I share. And it's always like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Did you know there was a Harvard study? Now, I've been citing this forever, so I don't remember where I got it, but it was a Harvard study that said, if you tell a therapist for the first half hour of an hour session, if you tell a therapist all the things that are bugging you and why you feel the way you feel, and the second half, all the therapist does is repeat back what you told them, 98% of the people give the therapist credit for being smarter than them. It's like you say, my dad never gave me the love that I think I deserved, and it kind of messes with me, comes in my, love life. And then the second half hour, the therapist says, your dad, I see, didn't give you the love that you deserved. And now it's hard for you to find love in your life. You're like, oh my God, you are brilliant. Yes, you know me. It's like, yeah, because you just told me a half hour ago, right? But what do most people try to do? They try to come in as a therapist and say, hey, before you tell me everything, let me tell you about me. I've been a therapist for 32 years. I know how to save. No one gives a shit. People care about what they care about. So if we want to master the art of communication, we have to listen more, make an impact. And that's what I consider being success. Success isn't just the money. I have to tell you, and do you mind if I share? I hope you don't think I'm bragging. I don't tell anybody, I don't take pictures. But 10 or 12 years ago, I got invited by somebody, maybe 15 years ago, I got invited to go on a private plane. I don't know, I honestly don't know how long ago. It could have been 20 years ago. And it was somebody that was really wealthy. And I'm like, I came from a kid that was in a trailer park, and I was already in business, and I was already doing well, but nothing like that. And I flew on this plane, and it was like, you just drive your car to the plane, you drive right out on the tarmac. I'm in shock. You get out of your car, you take 3 steps, you walk up into the plane, it takes off, you land, and when you land, your rental car is waiting at the bottom of the steps. I'm like, holy crap. This is unbelievable. There's food on the plane. There's a bathroom on the plane. It's like, this is ridiculous. This can't be possible. And I remembered that plane. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm buying one of these someday. I'm going to buy it after I hit certain criteria, after I saved enough, after I gave enough away. I'm buying one of these. And I've chartered since then. I've probably flown mostly private. I don't know, 10 years. I never talk. You never hear me talk about this. Look at this. Some of you I have a relationship with for 7 to 10 years. Never shared this. That's why I don't want you to respect me because I got a big house and a plane. I want you to respect me for my heart, my feeling, and how I got here. And that's what I hope I share that with you guys. You see a lot of people, go on your Facebook right now. I guarantee there's somebody holding the $500,000 in their hand and someone else in front of their Lamborghini and someone else showing off their watch, right? You never see that with me. I wear pretty much a gray t-shirt today. It's a very special day. I have a greenish gray shirt on. It's a special day right here. I digress. I was on that plane probably 15, 18 years ago. I bought that plane a year ago. But was it easy? No. Have I failed miserably? Yes. Have I doubted myself? Absolutely. Have I felt like an imposter? More than you'll ever know or ever believe. But it's possible. The only thing is we have to stay in the game. We have to find what drives us. We have to keep moving forward. We have to say to ourselves, again, I see so many incredible people on here. I know the success you've had. This isn't about you not having success up until now. It's about me hopefully helping you get to that next level of success. And listen, I'm at a place where I don't, yes, I have a plane. I have a beautiful home. But I'm not flashy. I drive a Ford pickup truck, by the way, guys. If you lived in Arizona and you saw me at a red light, I drive a white Ford F-150 every day. I do not have any other car. I don't have motorcycles. I don't buy watches. I have a really nice watch on my wrist right now. If you know watches, it's one of the nicest watches out there. It was a present from Tony Robbins from all the work we do together. Or else I'd have a simple old watch or not wear one at all. So I'm really simple in some areas. And then I get to do the things that I want, but I wouldn't do any of those things that I want unless I could give at the level I want to give. Last year, I donated more to charity than ever before in my life. I want to talk about those tough decisions, those ones we ignore, those ones that we avoid, those ones that give us a bellyache sometimes. And not that everybody's going through that, but so many times in life, there are decisions we need to make that we are not. It is so much easier. I don't know about you, but I absolutely do it. If there's hard things in my life, I find a way to tuck it down and stay busy, avoid it, do something else. And in most cases, those tough decisions are the ones that make the biggest impact in your life. So today, let's talk about those tough decisions that we like to avoid, that we like to put off because they could be painful, they could be scary. Sometimes there's an unknown attached on the other side of those tough decisions. So is it easier just to tuck it down, forget about it, and move on? Yeah, probably temporary, but not long term. So how do we make tough decisions? Well, here's one I'd like you to think about. First off, number one, if we don't make a decision, nothing will change. In fact, it most likely will get worse. So think about this. Whatever's stopping you, holding you back, makes you scared, makes you worried, if you do nothing about it, all it will do is occupy your mind, occupy your thoughts. And fast forward a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, will it be any different? Imagine if that one thing you're thinking of, there could be lots of things. It could be in love life, health, relationships. It could be in your starting a new career, starting a new job, finally getting out of a job that's killing you, or registering that URL, or doing the first deal, or making the first offer. I don't know what it is. But there's something holding you back. It's this big decision. It's something you're worried about. Maybe you don't want to tell your spouse. Maybe you don't want to tell your family. Maybe you're afraid to talk to people around you, so you ignore it. But if you keep ignoring it, how would it feel if you compounded it a year from now and you're in the same exact spot? That's the first thing. Secondly, what if it's 5 years from now and that same exact thing that you're afraid to make a decision on is still holding you back? It's got you stuck exactly where you are today. What if it's 10 years? And let me ask you, and you say, I don't think 10 years will go by. How fast has the last 5 years gone by for you? I don't know, let me know below. If you think it's gone by fast, say yes below or type a Y. Life has gone by so fast in the last 5 years. I'm blessed that I'm trying to soak up every bit, but it's going fast. So how long did you ever stay in a bad relationship, stay in a bad job, not make that decision, not contemplate the new business, contemplate making more money, contemplate getting more training, whatever it is. And all of a sudden you realize, like, wow, that was a year ago I started thinking about that. No, that was 5 years ago, or it was 10 years ago. So first off, I want you to think, if you don't make a decision, the pain of that inaction will do nothing but grow. Just grab a piece of paper and think about this. Amuse me here for a second. I want you to think about two different timelines. Now, this is hard to do. Most people don't do this stuff, but most people wouldn't be watching me. Most people are sitting around thinking about more, complaining. I don't mean that disrespectful, but they're not gaining wisdom, knowledge, or even inspiration. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but if I can inspire you to action today, then it's worth this time, right? I want you to think about taking two pieces of paper, and on one, write where you are. I'm here right now. And then I want you like a flow chart of your life. I want you to do version 1. You don't make that tough decision. You don't start the business. You don't say no to this relationship. You don't fix it. You don't move to the next level. Nothing changes. And I want you to write what will be if nothing changes. You stay where you are. Well, the job will be okay. 6 months from now, maybe you get a little raise. A year from now, another raise. Let's just take a job, for example, that might like just be draining your body, draining your soul. It was something your family, friends, your college professor, somebody thought you should take. Maybe it made you feel responsible for a moment, but you know it's killing you on the inside. So let's just say you stay in that job. As you go down that path, think about where will you be in 6 months and how will you feel? What's the emotions? How will you feel if you get a 10% raise in a year from now and you get an extra 3 days vacation? And just go down that road over the next 10 or 20 years and spend the time. Is your life worth 10 minutes taking that? And maybe you'll find that's okay. You'll get a promotion. You'll move to next level of management. You'll feel better about, I don't know, go down that road. And then also feel what kind of security would you have? Maybe that job brings you a sense of security. And go down that road. You could do the same thing with staying in a relationship. You could do the same thing with leaving your health the way it is. Take a 10-year look into the future and literally write it down. Don't just think about it. Don't just visualize, even though they're both amazing. Write it down like I'm picturing. If I was on a whiteboard with you right now and you were sitting in front of me, I would say, okay, where are you right now? And you tell me and say, okay, 6 months from now, where would you be with your health, your relationship, your job, your income, if nothing changes? And we just go down that road and figure a line and a circle, then another line, then a circle and a circle and a circle. And then just look at that path. And maybe you'll find, you know what? It's safe, it's secure. I need security in my life. That's great. But then below it or on another piece of paper, then think if you make the change, if you make the decision, if you get through the pain, if you stop avoiding the big decision, if you stop feeling stuck and you just say, screw this, I am changing this today. I'm ending this bad relationship today. I'm fixing the bad relationship right now. I'm ending this job, or I'm transitioning, or I'm going to start to look, or I'm going to post my resume, or I'm going to start my own business, or I'm going to start doing real estate, or I'm going to start doing whatever it is that you want to do. I'm going to register the URL, whatever it is. Picture on the next chart, if you're on a flow chart, whiteboard, or piece of paper, is you made that change. Yeah, you might feel insecure. Write that down. What would you be in 6 months? What would you be doing? Would you be pursuing your passion? Would you be doing more yoga and meditation to get more in touch with who you are or feel better about you? You know, again, I'm kind of all over the board I'm thinking of it could be your relationship, could be your income, it could be your health, but just pick one and start going down that journey. Where will you be in 6 months, a year? You might be scared, but will you find something new? Think back on past experiences when you were scared and you made a decision. Your next level of life, your next level of happiness, joy always lives on the other side of your biggest challenge. I know that, you know that, but we all get scared. And then we get a little older, we get complacent, we get fearful and go, let me just leave it the way it is. How's leaving it the way it is do when no one's around? When you're alone, when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with your head spinning and you're thinking about it, right? How's that doing for you? I don't know. I'm not telling you from lack of experience. I've done these things myself. So I want you to think about the two options of your life. And as hard as it is, you're going to find this hard to do. Believe me, I just did this exercise with two different paths. I have the option for two different paths in my life on something that's huge. And I've been thinking about it and staying up and worrying. And I'm like, it's not working. I literally had to sit and go down both paths and not just a month, and I had to think, how will I feel in a year? How will I feel in 5 years? Now that life has gone by so quick, we know that 5 years is going to go by in a moment. So in 5 years, do you want to be watching me going, I remember when Dean did this 5 years ago and I still haven't went for it. I still haven't decided. I still haven't made that tough decision. When are you going to make that tough decision? Think about even the little, what do you call them? Parables? I don't know. No, it's not. Like phrases we heard when we were young. Look before you leap. But then there's another one that says, he who hesitates loses. We're like, do I look? Do I jump? What do I do? Here's what I want to tell you from my personal experience. I wrote this down for you guys. Get guided action. Learn from those playing the game at the highest level possible. But do less thinking and more doing. I'm not saying, now, let me be very clear. I'm not talking about trial and error without the knowledge. Trial and error without knowledge is like running on a treadmill and turning it from 5 to 7. You're going faster, but you're not accomplishing anything. Learn from those who've already been there. Get a mentor. Learn from me if you want the stuff that I'm good at. If you want to lose weight, find the best weight loss person. If you want to get in shape, find the best getting you in shape person. Learn from them, take guided information, and then just take action. How many times, how long are you going to stand on the sidelines waiting for everything to be perfect? It's never going to be. It's never going to be the right time. It's never going to be a time when you're not scared. You have to find courage rob courage from the past, because I already know if you're watching me right now, you've already been courageous in the past. You already had stuff that scared the heck out of you and you still move forward. You already failed miserably and thought your life would never rebound, and it did. You've been courageous. Rob that courage from the past and take action today. Implement that courage into the present. In relationships and business. So I wrote, so obtain the knowledge you need to build confidence. But then don't get bogged down in endless questions, second thoughts, and circular analysis. If your heart is telling you to act, if your subconscious is telling you to go for it, stop overthinking and start taking action. How many places in that area, how many areas of your life does that apply? Start taking action. Start failing. Start figuring out what not to do if you have to. Learn from your action. Get in the game. You can't score a touchdown in the game of life if you're on the sidelines thinking, well, if they have the ball, should I play defense or should I play offense? I don't know, should I be a wide receiver or should I be a, I mean, I'm using football analogies and I don't even know football that well, but should I be a lineman or maybe a quarterback? Or maybe I should play tomorrow's game because I'll be more prepared tomorrow. You know, I should read up tonight on how to play football at the best level. In fact, I have a friend that's really good at football. I see him in about a month. So when I see him, I'll ask him, and then maybe I can play a game. Well, by then, the season will be over. So maybe I could start next season. You know what I'll do? I'll eat better and I'll start working out. So by the time next season comes, I'll be in better shape and I'll have worked out and I'll have eaten better. And then I'll have read that book and I'll talk to my friend and next season will be perfect. Next season. But see how life goes? That's what we can do. That's overthinking. That's paralysis caused by overanalysis. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. A lot of times that's just your subconscious wimping out and giving you excuses to push off your courage to take action. You know when you should take action? Now. Not tomorrow, not next month, not next year. Now. I love that saying when you're on an airplane and it says put your oxygen mask on first, right? Think about that. You put your oxygen mask on first, and then what's the next thing you do? Then you put it on other people. Once you get your oxygen mask on, then you could say, okay, I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm feeling better. We passed 10 million meals through Feeding America. 10 million meals. I'll never meet anybody that got a meal, but somebody was hungry one day, and because I got money out of the way and then I became safer, some kid was hungry one day and he got a meal put on his plate. He has no idea where it came from, but I do, right? We built 2 schools in Africa. We just donated money right before the end of the year. We donated money to our local hospital to build a whole area for kids in Phoenix Children's Hospital. There was an area where kids and parents wait, and my wife went in there with my son because he's got really bad allergies, and the hospital is trying to, there's a lot of demands, and there's a lot of people who can't afford it, so most of the people who come there can't pay for it, so they're trying, right? They live off of grants and money. So my wife went there, and she was there all day with my son, and it was just a blank room, and there was all kinds of kids in there, and there was no toys, and there was no colors on the wall. My wife came home and told me, I called the director, I said, how much would it take to make that room amazing and put toys in there and paint color on the wall and put balls and make it so kids can see on the TV? He said, oh my God, what are you asking? I said, what would it take to do that? And right now they're working on making that place for those kids to go in there when they're sick and not feeling good, to make them feel amazing and feel alive. I don't know what lights you up, but I have goosebumps right now. So when somebody tells me money doesn't buy happiness, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say one bad word today, bullshit. Bullshit. Money can serve in such a great way. Money is bad when people do bad things with it. Money can be amazing when you do the right thing. What I'm telling you today, and this is not what I thought I was going to share, put your oxygen mask on first. That's what you need to do. You need to take uncomfortable action. You need to push yourself. If you're a part of our mastermind family, welcome, be here. Push yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to do it. Take uncomfortable action. Get to the weekly trainings. Be on these inner circles. Do the things you need to do, even if it's at your own pace. You don't have to be Roger Rabbit going 100 miles an hour, but you got to move forward. Don't wait. No one's coming to do this for you. If you're a part of Project Next, or you're in our inner circle, or a KBB member, whatever you have, whatever capabilities, whatever part of our company you are, or anything you're doing, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to be in that place where you can have your oxygen mask on first, I'm going to be really honest with you. It's not easy. I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane, right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Do you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you in my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do, right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on. And what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. But we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. Tracy, I see it in your face. Melanie, I see it in your face. You're out there, Lori, I see it in your face. Gary, Alan, I see it, man. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace in his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away. If he would have felt guilty, if he would have not went for it, he never would have got to the ability to do the things that he was able to do with his money. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish, so you could be the least greedy and the least selfish for the long run. Life can pull us in a lot of directions. The craziness of the outside world can allow us to forget about our dreams or find imposter syndrome or lose our confidence, lose our drive, lose our desire, lose our focus. We get overwhelmed on not knowing where to start, and then we don't start at all. All those things happen. They're life. Add in 2.5 years of COVID. Now that we're going into an economic winter and inflation high, which is gas and food and all the prices are high, we add that we're in a polarized time in history where it feels like everybody's trying to push us apart when we're trying to come back together. Anybody feel that way? Wouldn't we rather all just get together and find our common ground? The media and the world want to tell us how different we are, but I think we have way more in common than everybody's telling us. And if we all were exactly the same, wouldn't that just be a boring world, right? So we're in this time of a couple of 2.5 years of COVID, and then we go into a place where now we're in an economic downturn, recession looming. I think by July 1, they'll officially announce we're in a recession. If you ask anybody, we're actually in it. And I was in business for myself in 2009, or in 2007 when we went into a recession, but I was also in business for myself in 1999. Who remembers the internet crash, right, of 99? I was in business then as well, naive and didn't even know it was a thing. By 2007, I understood it more and had smarter friends, and we made transitions and shifts in advance, and we were able to thrive through that shifting time. If I was just starting in business, if I wanted to shift my life, my income, my success, my happiness, my joy, what would I like to learn? So that's really, I'd love to say that there's more thought to it than that. We need this connection. We need to be plugged in. We need not to forget what our dreams are. We need not to let imposter syndrome be in control of us. We can't let the inner self-doubt say, play small, especially now. With the world shifting, I just want to tell you, this is not a time to sit on your hands. I did an interview 2 or 3 days ago with Tom Bilyeu. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu on YouTube. He's really good. Dear friend, he's great. He interviews wonderful people. He's really smart. So I took my kids with me. I had a couple podcasts. I went and saw my friend Brendan Burchard, and then I flew down to go see Tom Bilyeu, and I brought my older kids, my 13 and 15-year-old, and let them see what their dad does. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. And as I was talking with Tom, I'm talking about where the world is going and the shifts happening. I'm going to use the real estate space as an example. When the economy shifts, interest rates went up 0.75. All of these things affect, and if you're old enough to understand, there's a bigger byproduct coming, right? The housing industry, there's no way it can't be affected. It's coming, right? But when you're in an industry that's been booming for 10 or 12 years, and if you're in the mortgage industry or the housing, if you sell houses, if you build houses, if you build if you're in it, the last thing you want to do is face it and go, no, maybe it's a little hiccup. Oh, this will happen quick, right? And we get a little amnesia to the way it used to be. So instead of saying, no, it's going to be fine, if I truly care about you guys, what I want to do today is help prepare you, help anticipate, not make it worse than it is, but not make it better than it is. You know, when things change, when it's scary, when something new happens, what is it we always talk about? Flight or fight, right? We got the flight or fight mechanism. Tom Bilyeu said something I never heard. He said the third F he thinks is even more relevant in today's world, and that's freeze. That's freeze. That's what I want you to think about today. That was my notes here. My team puts together nice cheat sheets for me, and I write all over them so much and so sloppy I can't read my own writing. But what I wrote was the 3 Fs: fight, flight, or freeze. With all the crap that's led up to this recession, this inflation of 2.5 years of COVID, where COVID did things like made us realize, screw that job of me going in every day and not being with my family, not doing something I love, being unsure, missing, screw that. I'm out on that. 82% of people right now want to quit or leave their job to do something new or do their own thing. Never before has it been. The worst it was ever prior to this was 48%. And that was a couple decades ago. So 82% of people are like, COVID made me realize. Maybe you went through a little hardship, but with that shift comes uncertainty, right? And then all of a sudden you slam into gas, the highest it was, and inflation, and now you're like, should I not buy my house? Should I wait to buy? Should I wait to sell? What should I do? Should I invest? Should I take my money out of the stock market? Is my 401k gonna go away forever? Should it go back? Should I take it out and sit in cash? But if I do that, they say cash is trash. So if I sit on cash, it's trash, but if I leave it in the market, it goes down. Right? And all of a sudden this uncertainty builds, and if uncertainty builds, more than I've seen in my 53 years on this planet, guess what happens? Freeze. I don't know if I should do my self-education industry. I don't know if I should do anything with investment. I don't know. And when you feel that way, you freeze, you sit on your hands, you do nothing. This is not a time to freeze. In fact, this is a time to thrive. This is a time to gain capabilities because most people are going to freeze more than you know, and we're not there yet. If people smarter than me, where we're going I get the chance to have great conversations, more and more uncertainty will climb, confidence will go down, and more freezing will happen. How many people in your life you know are still stuck on the thing that went wrong? They started the business, started a real estate business in 2006, and then the economy shifted. That burned them. Never again will I go in business. Had a relationship in 2014, and that bastard cheated on me. Never again with men. They're all pigs, right? Which a lot of them are, I get it. I'm not sticking up for bad men or anyone bad, right? My whole point is sometimes when things go sideways, we focus on why the hell it happened. How could he do that? We started that partnership and he robbed the money. We started doing business together and she didn't stick to her, what she promised. And what happens is our brain wants to focus on why it happened, whose fault, and it could happen again. You can't succeed that way. You have to train your brain to say, that sucks. And I'm sorry if any of those things happen to you. But what did I learn from it? And I gotta move on. I gotta focus on solutions. What I taught my kid, my son Brody needs this help more than anybody, and I remind him all the time. I call it focus on the fix. When something goes off with my son, he really wants to analyze it and think about it and like almost get sad over it. And I'm trying to slowly, and through the years, he's 13 now and he's way better, is focus on the fix. It happened. It went sideways. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but it's like if you spill a glass of milk, you could say, damn, why did that spill? Somebody put it on the carpet. It's older milk. It's gonna get in, it's gonna make it smell. Why would someone put it there? Is the floor uneven? You can do all those things, or you can go get a towel and a new glass of milk. When people let you down, it goes sideways. And what if that failure is nothing more than something you needed so you could be stronger? Have you ever met anybody super successful that didn't go through hell to get there? I haven't. Have you ever met anybody with an amazing, incredible, love, passion-filled relationship that didn't go through hell prior? I don't know, or didn't go through some tough times to figure it out. I am married to the love of my life. I do have the best relationship I mean, it's unbelievable I have. But I also messed up a previous relationship and felt pain and went through a divorce. I had to go through that to figure that out. I'm sorry I had to. I hope so many of you didn't have to, but I did. It's the same thing here. What if that problem, that thing that went wrong, the spilled milk, is just part of your puzzle pieces? And paraphrasing and taking from my friend Tony is, what if life happened for us, not to us? Remember, the little things are the big things. And what do I mean by that? We set these big resolutions, but what we're doing today is we are going upstream to anchor in all these little knobs, these little, they say small hinges swing a big door. What we're talking about, these bullet points that I'm giving you today, thank you, Diane, for writing that down, the little things are the big things. That's all I'm giving you, these little shifts that you go, oh, I can't believe that. You know what? I'm gonna focus on how to fix this. What can I learn from it, and how can I fix it? Something happens and you go, I'll wait. I've hesitated in the past. I'm not gonna hesitate anymore. I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna do it anyway. Right? These little things are the big things. So the reason I did that is, what routines, what disciplines, what morning routines, what focus time do you need? What creative time do you need? What practicing personal growth, listening to it, setting yourself up daily for a win. What little things can you do that move the needle in a big way, right? What is the art of Kaizen? How do you run a 1,000-mile race? One step at a time. How do you make your goals stick in 2022? One little piece at a time. What little routines can you shift? What morning habits can you shift?
For things to change, we have to change. For a breakthrough, we have to take the uncomfortable action to make that breakthrough happen. No one's coming to save us, right? But two things: being in Napa, looking at these vineyards, and being with my friend Brendan Bouchard made me realize what's allowed me to move on in my life is bigger thinking. See, so many times we're thinking a foot out in front of us. We're so conditioned and programmed by the outside world telling us what we can't do, or we're a dreamer, or we're not in that industry, or we're too old, or we're too young, or we're not smart enough, or I don't have enough experience, I don't have a big following, I don't have a big YouTube channel. We have all these things telling us, and what that does without us realizing it, it makes us think a little bit smaller than we should. And when I look back in my life, man, the greatest gift God, the universe gave me was I used to dream and did and still do dream bigger, to stretch my goals, to aim for the solar system and you'll land on the sun, right? So why did that? So I'm going to give you an example business-wise, but I'm going to give you an example here with these grapes. So it's pretty cool. You see these grapes here, and how cool would it be to own a winery or a vineyard? I think that's so many people's dreams, just even if you don't like wine, just because it's so relaxing. But did you know that when you plant these, it takes like 7 to 8 years before they're really mature enough to produce the fruit that can make good wine? And then when you pick it and go through the process, it takes another 2 years, maybe 3, to process it, barrel it, store it, age it, put it in bottles, and ship it to stores. Think about that. Sorry, my right arm's getting numb. Think about that. Talk about big thinking. Talk about visionary thinking. It goes along with the lines of, sometimes we have to plant apple trees, and apple trees, just like grapes, they don't produce fruit immediately, and they still take work. Look, they still had to plant these. They still have to irrigate these. They still have to trim them. They have to put this wire up. They have to make sure the bugs aren't here. They plant lavender so it helps with the fragrance. They have to do all that work for 7 years without results. But think year 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 20, they get to create legacies. So 2 things I want to share today. 1, are you looking for things to happen quicker than they should? And then when they don't work immediately, overestimating what we can do in a year, underestimating what we can do in 5, are we saying, this doesn't work? I'm 3 months in, I'm 6 months in, I'm a year in, this doesn't work for me, I'm out. What if they said that about these grapes? What if they planted these grapes and were like, come on, you're 6 months old, give me the fruit, damn it, this isn't gonna work, burn it down. No, they know they gotta put the process, the time. So that's number 1 is let's be real. Let's not make it better than it is, but let's not make it worse than it is. The second part of my message, how I started this, is it's time to stretch your goals, to think bigger. You could do more, be more. When we decided to start doing challenges, and we're doing another big one in August for you guys, you're all invited as our guest. We're going for 1 million people. When we first did it, the biggest challenge Tony and I heard of was 100,000 people. That was the biggest one, and everybody said, oh my God, 100. I said, let's go for 1 million. Screw it, let's go for 1 million. Everybody, even though Tony's got the greatest brand in history, he's been around for 40 something years, I've been doing this for 25 years, just 1 million people, but think if they were in a stadium. We put 947,000 people in. This year we're breaking 1 million. I have no doubt in my mind. The only reason I'm saying that is sometimes the same problem that could make you $5,000 is the same amount of stress, worry, and angst to make you 50,000 or 5 million. The same output, the same mental thought, the same energy, the same overcoming obstacles to do your first sale is the same as doing 500 sales. I know because I've been through this journey. I've been broker than broke, and I made my first sale, and oh my God, I still remember it. I also have done some pretty amazing things, and it's the same amount of work, the same amount of stress, so you might as well stretch your goals. So today, my quick message here, so I can run off and be with my family and jump on a plane with my 2 kids, is remember these grapes. They take time, but it's worth it. Number 2, stretch your goals. Stop playing small. Stop letting the outside world dictate how big, how fast, how much impact you can make. If you would have looked at me, dyslexia, barely got out of high school, no college education, no money, family told me I was crazy, would anybody have bet on me if I was a horse in a race? Hell no. Hell no. But I had a culture of progress. I dreamed big. I modeled people who've already been there, and I took the uncomfortable action. That's why we're family. That's why you're here. Text me below that you're all in. Text me a comment, a message. I'll read every single one of these below. It's our time. The world needs us. Your family needs you. And it's time for you to reach your full potential. We can replace any limiting story with a story of empowerment. And when you attach those emotions to goals, you become unstoppable. Where you are is maybe okay, but it's not who you're meant to be. So you know where you are with honesty. Then we must decide, where is it that we truly want to go? Who do we want to be in a year from now? Think of that question. I didn't say, what do you want? Who do you want to become a year from now? What kind of income, happiness, joy, health do you want? Let's pretend it's a year from now. Pretend it's the best year of our lives. And what does that look like when you look in the mirror, when you look in your bank account? When you get up to do your daily thing, is it going to an office, or is it doing your own thing where you're impacting others, right? Why do you want to make more money, have more love, have a better body, or be in better shape? Why do you want to find self-love again, or get out of that bad habit? Why? It's always deeper, right? Could be for family, could be for freedom, could be because you want control of your decisions, your time, right? Could be that you want to be a better parent, a better husband, a better wife, a better spouse, a better significant other. I don't know your why, but when you attach your heart to your goal, you become unstoppable. The last piece, if you know where you are and you know where you want to go, if you attach your heart, the last piece is, how are you going to get there? What capabilities do you need to keep your mindset sharp, to never lose your confidence, to stay in the right state of mind, to unleash that inner hero that lives in all of us, to stay happy, abundant, to focus on solutions, to move forward, to not feel like an imposter? What capabilities do you need? When you want to learn something, find somebody who's living the life you want, that truly has the depth and breadth and is willing to create a course, a workshop, a mastermind, gain the capabilities,
and make it happen. I've been in the self-education industry for over 24 years. And I want to give you the common denominator of the people that break through and have the greatest year of their life and shift, like fundamentally shift their future forever. You see, they do gain the capabilities, the how, from someone who's already been there. But you have to be careful. Once you get the knowledge, that's not enough. That must be combined with the addiction. Please write this down right now. With the addiction of uncomfortable action. We must get addicted to uncomfortable action. We must get addicted to courageously moving forward. Courage isn't moving forward in the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even if you're a little scared, even if you've never done it before, even if you feel like an imposter, even if you feel like your friends will think you're crazy, or your family members, or your spouse. That is what we must get addicted to. So the magical combination for success is gaining capabilities from someone who's already been there, someone who's crafted the blueprint, and then shifting your mindset to say, I'm going to go for this. And if I fail, congratulations. That means I'm pushing myself. Because if you haven't failed much, that means you're playing safe. And you don't like safe, or you wouldn't be here right now. And that's the part I missed yesterday. I thought it was so important for you to understand. If you feel uneasy about moving forward, congratulations. If you feel a little nervous, have butterflies about starting the business, scaling the business, doing the sales, doing the marketing, having that conversation with your husband, talking to your children, walking into the gym. If it's making you a little nervous, congratulations. Your next level of life lives on the other side of that uncomfortable action. But again, you want the blueprint and the action, and then it's game over. What are you going to do in the next 24 hours to create momentum? Doesn't matter where you are. It matters where we're going. So what are you going to do in the next 24 hours to keep the momentum moving forward? Then what are you going to do in the next 7 days? Right? You have to write you can just write down the numbers and come back and do this exercise. But next 24 hours, next 7 days, next 30 days, next 60 days, and next 90 days. I would do a 24-hour, a 7-day, a 30-day, a 60-day, and a 90-day plan of what are the outcomes. What are you going to accomplish? Next 24 hours, I am dedicating the time. I'm going into my journal and I am going to dedicate times Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I am absolutely working on this. That's all I need to do. That's 24 hours. What am I going to do in the next 7 days? I'm going to dial in my dot and I'm going to start laying out my modules. Okay, what are you going to do in the next 30 days? I'm going to record it. I'm going to film it. The next 60 days, I'm going to be up on mastermind.com. Next 90 days, I'm going to start building my Facebook group. I don't know what it is, but take the uncomfortable action to commit yourself to these, put a deadline, and let's do the work and make this happen. Here's the thing. I want to be here for you, and I'm going to be here for you. I'm spending more time with these groups than any time in my life, but I still can't do it all for you. You need to take uncomfortable action. You need to know that there's nobody coming to save us. No one coming to save you. No one coming to do it for you. Doesn't matter if you're liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, in the middle, the right, the left, super religious, super Christian, super spiritual. Don't believe it all. It doesn't matter where you are on all the spectrums. There is nobody coming into our home and saying, I know it's been a little shaky, but I got this. Don't worry about it. It's on us. And how liberating is it when we know it's on us? Even if you have disabilities, even if you're looked at, like anything that you have that you feel is a negative, it doesn't matter. Anything you feel it's a positive, it doesn't matter. We're still the ones that make the decisions, and we're the ones that move the needle because no one's doing it for us. We want to change the world, we decide we're going to change it. We want to change the economy in our home, we have to decide. We want to change the amount of time we spend with family, or live into our true purpose, or be the woman or God or man God designed us to be. No one else is doing it for us. But what we can do is what you're doing. Gain capabilities from people who've already been there. Be a part of a group bigger than yourself. You already got the capabilities. You're already a part of a group bigger than yourself. You already got the support of this amazing family. You could come in here and say anything you want and this group will support you. You have all the ingredients. So what's left? You have to decide that I'm going all in. And what I would say is when you do your 24/7, 30, 60, and 90-day breakdown, what you should do is add two things. I would love for you to add So let's just say you did 24, 7, 30, 90, and you make a list of these things. Underneath, I would say, how will it feel when you accomplish it? How will it feel when you accomplish what you put your mind to? On a scale of 1 to 10, how does it feel when you accomplish something you put your mind to? I see you guys mouthing a 10, right? It's a 10, holding up your hands. It's a 10, right? Okay, but then I want you to do one more thing. After you say, how will I feel? I'll feel confident, I'll feel courageous, I'll feel fulfilled, I'll feel I can do anything, right? You write down how you'll feel. But underneath that, I want you to write down how it'll feel if you don't. The world has changed. And we must, and you guys have heard me say this before, I've shared this so many times, I want to share it again. We must, when it comes to marketing and sales and persuasion and influence, whatever it is you want to call it, let's just lump it all together today. We must live inside the minds of our prospects, those people that could do business with us. We must finish their sentences. We must know their fear, know their goals, know their desires. If you're teaching people how to play better tennis, what are their goals? What are their desires? What are their fears? If you're teaching people how to go vegan or fix their relationship or find passion or how to get through menopause, what is their biggest worry of going through menopause? I know we have multiple students that are doing really well teaching women how to healthy and elegantly get through menopause. That's why I brought it up. It's like, what is the biggest fear? What is their biggest goal? Why do they want to be that way? And what can they do to solve it, right? But those things change with the outside world. I've asked this to you guys probably in different places, but I ask you here. Are you guys having the same conversations at dinner today as you had at dinner a year ago? And are you having the same conversations at dinner today than you had 3 years ago, the month before COVID hit? If the best marketing is living inside the mind of the prospect, and you still have the same marketing as you did last year or 2 years or 3 years ago, then are you evolving or are you past due? Like, I see so many companies that ask me to consult for them, and I just don't have the time. I say no to most, but a lot of them, I'll see them, and in 2 seconds, like, you don't need me to consult. You have the same marketing messages running today than you did 3 years ago. You don't need me to consult. Go update your marketing. Live inside the mind of your prospect today. Go ride the bus. Go to Walmart. Go to Target. Go to wherever your ideal client hangs out and listen to their conversations. It's different from where it used to be. So as a marketer, we must intuitively or study and find out, what are people thinking? What are they afraid of today? What are their goals today? Right? Some people had goals 3 years ago. Now their goal is just to be outside, be free, not worry about COVID, not worry about this, not worry about that. We must see whatever industry or niche or dot that you're in. If you're in the self-education industry, you must meet them where they are. If you haven't done your first sale yet, you made your first sale, or you're doing 100 grand a month, this message applies to all of you. We must adjust the way we talk, the way we communicate, the way we market. Here's what this is the part I wanted to share with you today. I want you to take away the thought of marketing, sales, influence, persuasion, and I want you to think of helping people. No matter what it is you share. It could be self-defense. It could be learning karate. It could be learning sales. It could be learning to find self-love again. You could be a life coach, a health coach, whatever you are. This applies to all of you. And I wrote this down, whether you're doing a phone call, a video, a letter, or an email, a blog, you're doing a social media post, I want you to think through this lens. Now, if you guys have gone through any of my training or seen, I share a lot of really understanding where people are with honesty, where they really want to go, why the heck they want it, and do you have the capabilities to help them? Now, here's something I want to share with you. And you should write this down. Don't be afraid to push the wrong client away. The way you will build your confidence and your brand is don't try to teach people that you shouldn't be teaching. I really analyzed everything that robs my confidence. This is gonna sound like, I'm glad you got Dean on the show, he's so smart. But when is the last time you analyzed the things that rob your confidence and decided to never do them again.
Wow.
And analyze the things that build your confidence and do more of it. If you run a company, you figure out your marketing. What's not working, do less. What's working, you do more of it. Confidence is the same way. And here's what I know. I had dyslexia in school. I wasn't good at reading. I barely got out of high school. I didn't go to a day of college. I just couldn't wait to get out of class because school was really difficult for me. And I remember judging myself by that scorecard. My friends are smarter. They can take Algebra 2. I can't even get through Algebra 1. I failed accounting. And reading a book is almost impossible for me. And I can remember looking through that lens of the things I wasn't good at. And there was a time in my life, and it's what we're taught, is to work on our weaknesses, to get better at what we're not good at. And I have to tell you, I took a concept, Ed, to a whole nother level. Here's what I say it just like it is. Screw what you're bad at. Stop doing it and get amazing at what you're already good at. So we all have a gift. We all have a unique ability. We have a core competency. And what I've known, what I've worked on, especially in the last decade of my life, is I know what I'm good at, and I just want to keep getting better and be the best at it. And I know what I suck at, because when you work on things that you're not good at, or overwhelm you, or confuse you, there's no way your confidence gets boosted. You feel inferior. So my confidence comes from knowing that if I'm communicating with someone, if I'm sharing, if I'm writing a book, if I want to impact someone's life, if you turn on a camera, I love to do all those things. I love to live in someone's heart and understand what they need and deliver it to them. But if you tell me how to do an Excel spreadsheet or figure out accounting or so many things that I'm horrible at, man, that takes away my confidence. So I'm going to tell you a quick story because it's worth this. We both have done high-level masterminds, and I had high-level mastermind. I had this great guy, Tom. He was probably about 65. This is probably a decade ago. And he's sitting around, and we're going through, what are the things holding you back from your next level? And this guy was already doing really well with what we were teaching him, and he was doing great with real estate. He was on his 10th property. And it gets to Tom, and he says, Dean, what I need help in really is being organized. I am so sloppy. He's like, I could clean my car and it's a mess. I can clean my home office, it's in a mess. So what I'm doing tomorrow is I am going to Home Depot or Office Max, and I'm getting filing cabinets. This is how long ago it was. And I'm going to organize and put the little labels. And he got back to me. He's like, so what do you think? And I said, Tom, can I be honest? You're going to be sloppy and disorganized for the rest of your life.
Right.
But who gives a crap? I said, Tom, I said, did your parents tell you that when you were young? And he said, yeah. I said, how about your teachers? And I watched him get real serious. Like, this was something he carried. He's like, my wife says it now. And I said, see, you're carrying this weakness. Who cares? How about this? Tom, what if he was flipping houses. I said, what if you flipped one extra house a year? And you hired someone to make you the most organized human on the planet. Now, this is a much longer conversation. He got tears in his eyes because he let go of something he had been holding on to his whole life that kept him smaller. I watched his chest come up, his shoulders went back. And I said, have someone come in your house, have someone organize your bills, and get great at what you're already good at, one more property. And I know that's a silly analogy, but I want to tell you right now, identify what you're good at and go all in on it. And eventually, if you're not already doing, pay somebody to do the things you suck at. And that's how we get good. Hear me on that. You must. Who we surround ourselves is who we become. That's not my saying. That's been around since the beginning of time. It's a fact. So, who will you listen to, learn from, and who will you be persuaded by? Find those that are living life where you want to live and model it. Listen, today, I'm sharing what I've learned over 30 years of going after it. I've failed miserably. I've had an ulcer in my life. I went through a divorce. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. I went broke once, all the way down to nothing. Had to sell the house I was living in. But I've also found real love in my life. If you guys follow me on Instagram, my wife and I don't have an Instagram relationship. I'm married to the love of my life. I fall more in love every day. My wife's here today. When she came in today, I see her. It's 5 years we've been together. She walks in a room, I feel like I'm 12 years old and I'm in love with my best friend. I love being a dad. I live in the house of my dreams. I get to fly on my own plane. I get to do all this cool stuff. I have 15 different companies. Last year, we fed 7 million people through Feeding America. Last year, we built 2 schools in Africa. Last year, I donated $600,000 of my own money to help kids in slavery through Operation Underground Railroad. And that's only some of the things we've done. I don't say that to brag. I say that because that was a kid who lived in a trailer park, who lived in a bathroom with his dad, who didn't go past high school, who got made fun of, who had parents who struggled terribly. I'm not saying, look what I've done, magic. I'm just saying what's possible when you shift the outcome, when you decide to follow people who've already done it. Model people that, if you want to play great tennis, I don't care if your Aunt Edna watched every tennis match for the last 40 years. If she's never played, never won, never failed, you can't take advice from Aunt Edna. You could give her a kiss and bring her some flowers and go find someone who used to play tennis or plays tennis better than you and let them raise your bar, raise your standards, raise what you're willing to accept for yourself and for your family. Put your oxygen mask on first. That's what you need to do. You need to take uncomfortable action. You need to push yourself. If you're a part of our mastermind family, welcome, be here. Push yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to do it. Take uncomfortable action. Do the things you need to do, even if it's at your own pace. You don't have to be Roger Rabbit going 100 miles an hour, but you gotta move forward. Don't wait. No one's coming to do this for you. Whatever you have, whatever capabilities, whatever part of our company you are, or anything you're doing, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to be in that place where you can have your oxygen mask on first, I'm gonna be really honest with you. It's not easy. I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane, right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Did you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you in my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do, right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on, and what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. But we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace in his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away. If he would have felt guilty, if he would have not went for it, he never would have got to the ability to do the things that he was able to do with his money. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish, so you could be the least greedy and the least selfish for the long run, right? What does Tony always say? And I think he got it from Jim Rohn, who probably got it from somebody else. But we all overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. Who in here in 5 years from now would love to sit down with your family, like I was able to do this Christmas, right after Christmas, and say, as a family, we have X amount of dollars, that we want to help people. What do you guys want to do? How does that, I don't know, maybe that doesn't ring a bell for everybody. It rang a bell for me. And my wife's like, oh my God, I want to help kids. And my daughter was like, I want to help this. There's too much separation in our world right now. Who can we help out to help bond our communities, bond the people, become the human race? My son had his idea. I'm like, okay, what do you want to spend? Go online, find a great company, find somebody that's got 5-star rating, go, come back to the table. Who are we going to donate money to? How does that feel? What does that do for your soul right now? What does that do for your heart right now? Is that bigger than anything else? But I'm telling you, don't do that until your mask is on. That's the part we all want to do. Who wants to do that? Who wants to donate more, give more, impact more, right? But I'm not saying you shouldn't help out now. If you don't donate $1 million out of 10 million, you won't donate, if you won't donate $1 out of $10, you won't donate $1 million out of 10 million. We can do things now, but be more selfish, more greedy with your time, your money, and all of it right now. Put your focus on you, put your focus on being successful, because then in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you get to cut checks and make an influence, make an impact. And that's what I consider being success. Success isn't just the money. I have to tell you, and do you mind if I share? I hope you don't think I'm bragging. I don't tell anybody, I don't take pictures. But 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, I got invited by somebody, maybe 15 years ago, I got invited to go on a private plane. I don't know, I honestly don't know how long ago. It could have been 20 years ago. And it was somebody that was really wealthy. And I'm like, I came from a kid that was in a trailer park, and I was already in business, and I was already doing well, but nothing like that. And I flew on this plane, and it was like, you just drive your car to the plane, you drive right out on the tarmac. I'm in shock. You get out of your car, you take 3 steps, you walk up into the plane, it takes off, you land, and when you land, your rental car is waiting at the bottom of the steps. I'm like, holy crap. This is unbelievable. There's food on the plane. There's a bathroom on the plane. It's like, this is ridiculous. This can't be possible. And I remembered that plane. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm buying one of these someday. I'm going to buy it after I hit certain criteria, after I saved enough, after I gave enough away. I'm buying one of these. And I've chartered since then. I've probably flown mostly private. I don't know, 10 years. I never talk. You never hear me talk about this. Look at this. Some of you I have a relationship with for 7 to 10 years. Never shared this. That's why I don't want you to respect me because I got a big house and a plane. I want you to respect me for my heart, my feeling, and how I got here. And that's what I hope I share that with you guys. You see a lot of people, go on your Facebook right now. I guarantee there's somebody holding the $500,000 in their hand and someone else in front of their Lamborghini and someone else showing off their watch, right? You never see that with me. I wear pretty much a gray t-shirt today. It's a very special day. I have a greenish gray shirt on. It's a special day right here. I digress. I was on that plane probably 15, 18 years ago. I bought that plane a year ago. But was it easy? No. Have I failed miserably? Yes. Have I doubted myself? Absolutely. Have I felt like an imposter? More than you'll ever know or ever believe. But it's possible. The only thing is we have to stay in the game. We have to find what drives us. We have to keep moving forward. We have to say to ourselves, again, I see so many incredible people on here. I know the success you've had. This isn't about you not having success up until now. It's about me hopefully helping you get to that next level of success.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Simon Sinek, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
A finite game is known players, fixed rules, and an agreed upon objective. Football, baseball. There's always a beginning, middle, and an end, and if there's a winner, necessarily there have to be losers. Then you have infinite games. Infinite games are defined as known and unknown